Back in ye olde ancient times of 2016 BC, BC standing for before COVID, Netflix announced it would start supporting Dolby Atmos content with some of their original titles like Stranger Things. Neat. Can we all agree that a lot has happened since then, especially when it comes to home theater? Well, Netflix has paved the way again as of February 1st, 2023, introducing spatial audio powered by Sennheiser's Ambio 2-channel technology. Wait a second, but don't Atmos and spatial audio kind of mean the same thing, like with Apple Music? No, my friends. So let's talk about it, shall we? Since 2016, the majority of new Netflix originals are now presented in Dolby Atmos, providing a fully immersive 3D audio soundstage for those with compatible devices and speaker configurations, starting with your baseline 5.1.2 system, where you have 5 ear-level speakers, 1 subwoofer, and 2 height channels, and beyond. But those who are watching and listening to Netflix content through Dolby Atmos compatible AVRs or soundbars are still in the minority among its subscribers. Most are still watching through their TV speakers. So Netflix then decided to team up with German-based audio company Sennheiser to utilize its Ambio surround sound virtualization technology to bring a more immersive audio experience to the majority of its subscribers that are still listening through their TV speakers, laptop speakers, or through headphones with their smartphone or tablet, etc. Well, I take that back. Kind of. Yes, the majority of its subscribers aren't watching through AVRs or soundbars, this is true, but the newly launched spatial audio is only available to those in their premium subscription plan, which of course is the most expensive. Haha, there's the catch. With its initial rollout, there are 700 titles that now have this cool-looking spatial audio badge on the description page, with plans to have new original content to also support spatial audio moving forward. I currently have a 2.1 system in my new living room, utilizing my smart TV apps to access the streaming platforms that I'm subscribed to. But since my smart TV supports Dolby Atmos, I couldn't get spatial audio support until I tricked Netflix into thinking otherwise. I had to change the audio output settings on my TV to PCM audio over ARC. Now I could see the spatial audio badge. Great. To test this new spatial audio, I watched some key scenes from Stranger Things 4, when Eleven downs the helicopter, The Atom Project when they fight some bad guys in the backyard, then continue the action driving through a forest with trees whizzing by, followed by the insane first 10 minutes or so of 6 Underground. When I first tested these scenes, I was not really impressed. But I was sitting about 13 feet away from the TV, so I plopped myself down on the coffee table and listened that way too. And yeah, there were some moments that sounded as if there was more going on to the sides, beyond the speakers themselves, and a couple instances where there was definitely something happening somewhat above the TV. Not really up to the ceiling, but higher than the speakers themselves for sure. But did it ever seem like sound was coming from behind? No, not at all. So then curiosity got to me and I thought, well, if this is optimized for 2-channel playback, what if I mimicked a headphone setup in my theater? Seems simple enough since I already have side surrounds directly flanking my listening position, so I configured them to be my front, left, and right speakers. But getting that spatial audio badge to show up through my Apple TV 4K turned out to be kind of impossible. At least when it was hooked up to my IOTA AVX17 preamp. Even when I turned the output of my preamp to stereo and told my Apple TV to also output it to stereo, I still couldn't see that spatial audio badge. So once again, I had to trick my system by connecting the Apple TV 4K directly to the TV now, then changing the TV's output to PCM audio. Okay. Now we're back in business. So now I could get audio coming out of just my side surrounds and nothing more, to have a pseudo headphone system. Maybe this would sound better and more encompassing than what I experienced in my living room? Yes, it was definitely a wider soundstage, since it was literally half circle, since it did seem like dialogue was coming from my TV, with certain sound effects and music tracks filling in the spaces in between. Although I say dialogue came from the TV, but honestly it was more like it was coming from inside my head or slightly forward and above my head. And there were particular instances where certain sound effects were a little off because they were panned hard left or hard right, when in reality they should have been kind of just beyond the borders of the TV and not directly to my sides, right? So honestly, I'm gonna call that experiment a dud, to say the least. Oh well. I was glad that I followed through with my curiosity, but in the end it was honestly more weird than immersive. Now, there is an official video out there on YouTube from Netflix, which is in the description below, which showcases what spatial audio can do to your 2-channel setup. The first example being a plane flying around during the beginning of 6 Underground, but honestly, that didn't do much for me. There wasn't much of a difference when listening to the built-in speakers on my laptop than when I listened to the same scene in my living room. But the skating scene they demo from Stranger Things? Yeah, I could definitely hear some sweeping sounds to my sides. Behind me though? No, still nothing from behind me. But definitely a wider soundstage that moved around, especially when I was pretty close to my laptop. So yes, I would say that if you are very close to your sound source with certain scenes, you are going to notice a difference. But is this a night and day difference? Nah, not really. But it is a step in the right direction. Netflix is usually on the forefront of new tech like this, so I'm glad it's out there, because I'm sure this means other streaming platforms might follow suit, whether that be partnering up with Sennheiser or coming up with their own version, etc. I personally think that this will help boost sales with more modest speaker systems, mainly your powered 2-channel desktop setups like the Aperion Audio Alaire Bluetooth speakers, SVS's Prime Wireless Pro speakers, and even the Klipsch THX Pro Media 2.1 system, since those types of speaker systems can easily connect to a PC or TV via HDMI or optical or RCA, etc. Because I'm sure a lot of Netflix subscribers out there watch a lot of their content like that, sitting at their computer. So I'm happy that Netflix has chosen to include this advancement in their sound quality for those who don't have a large home theater system, albeit only those subscribed to their premium plan. But Netflix did make a small claim with their spatial audio rollout that eventually there will be some limited titles with spatial audio, even to those on their lesser plans. How many? I don't know, but that number will continue to grow. I know this is a quick one, but thank you for letting me explain Netflix's spatial audio rollout to you. Does it kind of make more sense now that it's different from Atmos? Are you going to try it out now for yourself? Would you even consider bumping up to the Premier plan because of it? Regardless, I am excited for what's to come because of this spatial audio rollout. I'm glad they're thinking of the more modest home theater setups and not just those with soundbars or AVRs. Although I would recommend anyone to upgrade beyond listening to their crappy TV speakers, but at least this makes it slightly less crappy. So what do you think? Let's start a conversation, people. As always, please be kind to each other out there. Don't just watch Netflix, experience it with spatial audio. And of course, always be listening. But those watching and listening to Netflix content through Dolby Atmos compatible AVRs or soundbars are still in the minority among us scabbers. Scabbers? Harry Potter fans will know.